Let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen ending, because I know for a lot of people, myself included, it felt very underwhelming, unsatisfied, just unfulfilling. I guess as a longtime JJK fan, especially once I saw it in the first season of the anime, I fell in love with it. Had to check out the manga, read this entire Shibuya arc. I loved it. Gojo becoming one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, just a lot of things were going good for it. And I get it, not every story is perfect. And I feel like for a lot of shonen stories, it's really hard to land that perfect ending or that satisfied ending. But compared to MHA, which is like the latest new gen that just finished, so I won't even call it new gen, but you know, manga, I guess you could say, that ended, I felt like the MHA was a little bit better than the Jujutsu Kaisen one. I feel like the Jujutsu Kaisen one felt just very underwhelming, like I said. And this video is going to be me not really talking about the last chapter. I mean, I'll mention a couple of things that I didn't like about the chapter and what I did like about the chapter, but overall, just ending the last couple chapters, because I know for a lot of people, they're saying that the manga fell off once Gojo and Sukuna ended. Now, I'm not one of those people. I'm also not one of those people saying that the manga's trash by any means, like it's one of the worst mangas ever to an ending or anything like that, because if this is your first, I feel like for a lot of people that I've seen online, this is like the first anime / manga that they ever got into. And so for them to kind of get this dissatisfied ending, trust me, this is not the worst ending that you can get. There's plenty of other mangas that have really shitty endings, which had a good story at first, but the ending was pretty much trash. But this, I would say, is like a mid ending, if I'm being honest. Now, it's definitely not the best ending. I feel like we could have gotten a lot more, but for what it is, I'll take it, man. I've seen a lot worse, but it's definitely not something that I was going for, because I felt for a lot of people who were reading JJK, it would have ended in two ways. Either most of our characters surviving and we would have had a better ending, like, you know, with just characters having different, it would have been different, okay? But I just didn't expect Gege to go this route, if that makes sense, or Sukuna winning. And I know a lot of people were like low-key hoping for that, but he didn't win in the end. And so it could have gone two ways. Obviously, them winning, but the way they went out winning, like the last 5 pages, like, I'll just go some things like that I didn't like. Number one, Nobara coming back. I felt like her presence, I felt like it was more for shock value more than anything, but I feel like her just coming very last minute back in the story, and then pretty much the next chapter Sukuna dies and stuff like that. Is like, well, you can introduce her a little bit earlier. Why super late towards the event? Like, I get it for shock value and everything, but I know it just didn't really sit right with me, you know. And then one thing too that I did like, though, Sukuna's end, I didn't have no problem with him dying or anything. Like, the way he went out, he pretty much went out like a curse. Like, he didn't really switched up, but towards the very last chapter that we got, he kind of did switch up in a sense. I know I like the ending too, with Sukuna's conclusion as his character, if I'm being honest, because his ideologies never aligned with Yuji's, but the fact that he lost Yuji in a battle kind of made him walk down, and he were to have a different life or a different chance of life, we walk down a different path. And I like that. I feel like it really fits Sukuna's character, because he was always about strength and power no matter what. And at the end of the day, he was a human at first, and then he became a curse, you know. Unlike Mahito, he's pretty much, you know, a fucking curse, and he never really escaped that like childish mindset or whatever. So he'll always be a curse no matter what. As you can see, Sukuna walking up north, and so I like that conclusion. I always thought Gege really fucked with Sukuna more than Gojo and like any other character, if I'm being honest. And sometimes I feel like this was Sukuna's story, if I'm being honest, but that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, I definitely like Sukuna's character inclusion. I did like Yuji's and Gojo's, little talk or whatever. I feel like that was a nice little touch in the last chapter. Them talking and stuff like that. Gojo, pretty much his ideals passing on to the next generation. He wants to be forgotten about and stuff like that. But I don't know, that kind of rubbed me off in the wrong way in a sense, because I always feel like Gojo, not just him, but I feel like towards the very end, instead of Gege giving us a chapter about them doing some random side mission and shit like that, I feel like he should have focused more on like giving us different characters, more interactions, and especially giving us like a good funeral, giving everybody their thoughts about like Nanami, Gojo, what to think about their sensei. Because let's be honest, bro, Gojo was really the main reason why a lot of them like Loki survived and stuff like that. Kept Jujutsu society good for a while, and like, let's be honest, him being like, I was never one of those people that like wanted Gojo to come back. I'm really glad he never came back to the story, because his whole purpose in Shibuya, like, I feel like was, you know, really well done. Him being out the story made things a lot more easier. Curse sprays coming out, like, it raised the stakes a lot more higher. And especially once he died against Sukuna in the battle, I definitely feel like it raised the stakes even higher, because it put a lot more pressure on the heroes to do their thing, see what they can do to defeat Sukuna and stuff like that. So I was always an advocate advocate for Gojo not coming back, but I can see why a lot of people did want him to come back, but I'm glad he never came back. But because it's crazy the amount of people that really dropped the story because he died. Like, it's crazy, especially once you see the chapters and everything online. A lot of people were coping every chapter for him to come back. I'm glad he never came back. But one thing that I just wish Gege handled better is just giving us like a funeral for Gojo, Nanami, a lot of these characters that we loved and like had a great character, not just Gojo, them having like, you know, just one funeral, everybody giving their thoughts and stuff like that. But we really didn't have that, and I get it, just sorcerers don't really have that type of, you know, affection or whatever. But I just, you know, I just sometimes wish we got that. One thing too that I didn't really like, Kenjaku, thought he was gonna be more into play, but he didn't. Once he died, he's pretty much like just afterthought. Like he was just never really involved or anything. And then towards the very end, you see this person that looks like Kenjaku / Geto, but their speech bubbles covered it, so we'll never know like if it's Geto or not. Or if you ever, like, we just don't know. And like, I don't know, like I said, Gege tried to solve some plot points, but at the same time he introduced a couple new things, and he just left it kind of open. And one thing I did like though towards the very end, like if you remember in chapter 1, the door is pretty much closed, like to enter Sukuna's finger, and then at the very end it's pretty much open and you see the finger right there, but the finger is pretty much useless. Sukuna will not come back, he's pretty much dead, his soul is dead, and if he were to come back, he was just super weak because it's only one finger. Yuji destroyed the rest, and he tried giving Sukuna a chance, but Sukuna didn't want it, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, there's a lot of things to that. I know a lot of people were dissatisfied towards the very end because we never got to see Hikari's fight with Urahime, whatever her name is. We never really got to see that fight, and I know a lot of people were expecting it. So did I. At least a little teaser or something, but we never got shit. She pretty much died. But I always like her relationship with Sukuna, and you can see it towards the very last chapter that he devoted a lot to Sukuna and stuff like that. So it makes sense for Sukuna's character, and I like the conclusion towards Sukuna's character, but I feel like he got a better conclusion than Gojo did. But that's not to say Gojo didn't do his thing or whatever. I know Gege tried to do his best with Gojo, and I feel like every time he introduced Gojo like back into the series, whether it be like flashbacks and stuff like that, it really kept the readers engaged. But I don't know, I just feel like towards the very end we could have gotten a lot more recognition for what he did, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like everybody kind of just saw him as a weapon. They didn't really fuck with him like that as like a sensei, if that makes sense. I just wish we got more thoughts of what everybody really thought, because I feel like the only people who really like mourn for his death and really care for him is Yuta and Yuji, and maybe Nanami. But other than that, I never really, like, the other characters never really seemed like to give a fuck much about Gojo, in my personal opinion. And so, like I said, there's a lot of things towards the very end that I didn't like how things were handled. But I get it that, you know, Shonen Jump and whatever, like, he had, like, you know, he was sick a lot of the times and stuff like that. So maybe that had to play in effect, and, you know, he didn't have much chapters left. But those last 5 chapters really just felt really underwhelming, really fast paced. We could have got a lot more better stuff, just more like characters interactions, giving their thoughts about certain characters and stuff, than just giving us like a random side mission and stuff like that, trying to introduce different plot points. I feel like it would have just been a lot better just for him to write a certain way, a different way. But at the end of the day, this is his story, and if you feel comfortable this is the way to go, then, you know, that's up to him. And he kind of left it open in a sense too, so I don't know, maybe he does decide to do his next work, which he's already starting his next work. Maybe he'll come back one day and try to finish this. I don't 100% know, but like I said, much respect to him, because like I said, I did enjoy this manga a lot. It had a lot of peak moments for me. Sukuna versus Gojo, Toji versus Gojo, Sukuna versus the entire gang, Kashimo, for the time being, he was there with Sukuna. Like, there was a lot of great hype moments. Toto coming back into the picture, Choso's death. Like, there was just a lot of characters that I like. It's just so many peak moments, but towards the very end, it just really did felt very underwhelming. It just didn't really feel fulfilling as an ending per se. But like I said, I guess this is his vision, what he saw, or maybe he didn't. Who knows? At the end of the day, he only knows. But hopefully in the future we can ask him some questions, he can give us some answers, what he thought about the ending and stuff like that. But I get it, he was time limited and stuff like that. He already knew what he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, I can't do nothing but respect the man. He gave us one of the best mangas ever. Let's be honest, it gave us a lot of peak moments. Just because it had a bad ending, I wouldn't necessarily say it ruins the entire manga. Maybe for some people it does, but for me personally, I still enjoy it. Like I said, a lot of peak moments. Just the very end really somewhat ruined it for me. But if I had to give the manga a rating, I'll probably give it like a cool 8 out of 10. Like, it's definitely enjoyable. I definitely recommend this to a lot of people who are just getting into anime / manga, because that's a lot of great dope fights. One of the most iconic characters, like, in such quick amount of time, if I'm being honest, with Gojo and stuff like that. But yeah, I know these are just my thoughts, rambling thoughts, what I think about the chapter overall, and just overall, just towards the very end, how I feel about it. But let me know what y'all think. Like I said, I'm always curious to hear what y'all have to say about this. Like I said, I look at the comment section all the time. So if y'all did enjoy anything I had to say, y'all agree or disagree with anything I had to say, y'all comment down below. Like I said, at the end of the day, this is all just personal opinions, how we feel about a certain series. But let me know what y'all think. And yeah, man, until next time, man. In the future, I will be doing, JJK videos like with the anime and stuff. But as the manga, it was a fun ride, man. I'll definitely miss like all those moments going on TikTok and seeing everybody give their thoughts, especially when they went on break. What was it, Labadi Kaizen or some shit like that, where they would just put like insert like random images and stuff. Like, it had a lot of great moments. Like, it's one of those mangas that you had to be there, especially for Gojo versus Sukuna on a daily, week basis. Like, it definitely made a lot of great memories. I know a lot of people built like a fan base because of this manga. Like, definitely made a lot of memories. Definitely fun to be a part of. But yeah, man, it's one of those things that one day it had to be over. But hopefully one day we get a part 2. If not, then we don't. But let me know what y'all think. And yeah, man, hope y'all have a good rest of your night.